start recording now. Oops. So welcome. Thank you so much for coming this evening. My name is Carlin Laporta, and I'm the program administrator for the Downey Unified Virtual Academy. And if you have any questions after tonight's presentation, feel free to reach out to me. My email is there. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. I'm also going to introduce our Virtual Academy counselor, Mr. Calderon, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to him so that he can share with you how he's here to support our students.
Yeah, so hi everyone. Thank you for coming. First of all, I know it's kind of late in the evening. You're probably coming out of work and whatnot, but you're here. So I'm so glad to see you all here. So yes, I'm Mr. Calderon. So if you do decide to enroll in our school, right, I would be your student's counselor. So I'll be here to support your student with their academic success. So if they're struggling in any class, you could always reach out to me. I will be also checking in with students, making sure they're on track for doing one each class. I'll be providing students with a personalized learning plan. So helping students with, navigating each class, making sure they're on track for if they're in high school for A through G graduation, if they're in middle school, making sure they're on track to progress to the next grade, right? Pretty much making sure they're on track for success in each class they're taking. Also here for some social emotional needs. So if a student is feeling anxiety, or feeling maybe a little overwhelmed, maybe not very motivated, whatever the case may be, I will be here to support your student with any social emotional need they may have. Also preparing for college. So for many students, right, their goal is to attend college after high school, right? So definitely here to support your students with that, as well as exploring different careers. So it's always nice to be able to explore careers before finishing either middle school, high school, and having a better idea as to what they want to pursue afterwards. So I'm here for all of that and more.
Thank you, Mr. Calderon. In addition to that, we have our Virtual Academy teachers. I like to say that we are a small but mighty team. And I think I even saw a couple of teachers in the waiting room. So we might have a couple of teachers here. So if you're here, when I call your name, shout out and let us know if you're here. For our electives courses, we have Julia Maldonado, and she specializes in art. And we have for English, Javier Navarro. Our math teacher is Nanette Johnson, and Nanette has been in our district for several years, and she's been an instructional coach at the district level, and she's very knowledgeable about all things math. So we're lucky to have Nanette. We also have for science, Matthew Ellis. I think Matthew is in the waiting room. Are you here, Matthew?
I'm here. I'm here.
So welcome. Thank you for being here. And then for social studies, we have Arlene Baltazar. So we're happy to have all of these wonderful teachers who are credentialed teachers in the Downey Unified School District, and they are credentialed in the subject that they'll be teaching. So tonight our goal is to share some of the goals of Virtual Academy, the Virtual Academy program. We understand that as parents, it's really difficult, especially right now in this climate, to make a decision on what's the best learning environment for your child. We also understand that there's some confusion out there in terms of what those options are. So our goal tonight is really to define what the Virtual Academy program is and how we can really help to meet your students' needs. If you are wondering what will be offered at your homeschool site, for instance, if you're a parent of a Doty child, or if you have a student who is going to Warren High School and you're not sure what that online independent study program will look like, we encourage you to reach out to your homeschool site to get those questions answered. Tonight, our goal is to define what the Virtual Academy is and to try and educate our parents in terms of if this is a good option for your child. So if you have questions as we go, please feel free to put those in the chat, and we'll answer those at the end of the presentation. So as a Virtual Academy, we're a new school to Downey Unified, and we created this school not necessarily as a reaction to the pandemic, but as a reaction to trying to provide an alternative for students other than, our 3,500 student comprehensive high school, or 4,000 student comprehensive high school, and our fairly large middle schools. So what we would like to do in terms of our virtual academy is provide a more interactive and inclusive and much more flexible student-centered individualized learning experience in order to better meet the needs of all of our students and families. So as Mr. Calderon mentioned, students will have an individualized student learning plan that allows us to help direct the student more, offer some targeted tutoring, and possibly some acceleration opportunities. Our virtual academy teachers, while they're there to support the content, they also will serve an advisory role in mentoring your students who need additional support in staying on pace and accessing the content of their courses. And then it's important to mention too that while most of the learning will be virtual or online, we also have some in-person learning opportunities available. And students can choose to work online at the school site. We will have a physical school site at the Pace Education Learning Center. And students can come and work in the classrooms, or we will also have a student lounge where students can come and hang out and work there independently and online. So we wanted to make sure you understand that while it is a virtual academy, we will have a physical school site where our teachers and our staff will be. In addition to sharing some of the goals of the program, we wanted to share some of the student characteristics that we think would be a good match for this virtual academy. So if you're looking at this list and you're intimidated by all of the words on it, we just wanted to make sure that we kind of covered all of our bases. And your child may not fit all of these descriptors, and that's fine. But it's just in terms of trying to think of if this school would be a good match for your child. So last year, during the pandemic, some students really, really flourished in that online environment where they got to, work from home, and they didn't have kind of the same stressors that they typically have at a school site. So a good student match for this program would be students who actually thrived and who flourished in a non-traditional school environment. Also, we think students who are self-motivated, who have a strong desire to learn skills, acquire knowledge, and can complete assignments independently especially, would be a good fit. Also, students who are self-directed or who want more flexibility in their schedule. So for instance, if we have students who really struggle with early morning classes, this would be a good fit for them because students can do their assignments and finish their coursework at their own pace and during their own timetable. So unlike the traditional school where students go to school from 8 o'clock to nearly 3 o'clock every day, at the virtual academy, students have the option to start their day whenever is most comfortable for them. So that effective time management piece is really important as well, because while students have the flexibility to work at their own pace and to attend school during their own timetable, it's important that they are able to kind of stick to a study schedule and a time management schedule. So it's important that students are effective at that. In addition to that, we have listed that students who have independent study habits, meaning that they are used to kind of studying and completing assignments without the direct supervision of teachers and parents. So if your child is one to kind of complete assignments without you having to remind, or have a teacher in the classroom standing over them, making sure that they're completing their work, that would be a good student for this school. One of the most essential traits is the trait of effective communication. So students really need to know when and how, and they need to be comfortable and confident in reaching out to their teachers for help and being able to describe any problems that they're having with any specific lessons or learning materials. So that's an important trait. We may have high achieving students. We may have students who have some anxiety issues and who may benefit from a smaller online school setting. students with limited credit deficiencies. And we also are open to special education students, but it's important to mention that the alternative educational setting of the online learning environment needs to be specified in the student's IEP. So for our virtual academy details, we just wanted to share some of the kind of nuts and bolts of our program. So we're going to be using the Apex online curriculum, and you may be familiar with that. For some of you, you may have students who have participated or taken some Apex courses in the summer or even during the school year. We will be using the Apex online curriculum, which is a comprehensive online curriculum that has courses in all subject areas. And I think, as I mentioned, the school and the staff will be located at our PACE Education Center. So we will have a physical school site. Additionally, all of the students will be required to attend an advisement meeting once a week with their mentor teacher. So we have the content area teachers, as I mentioned. We have our English, math, social studies, our elective, and our science, I think. I didn't mention science. Those teachers will also serve as mentor teachers for your students. And so each student will be assigned a mentor teacher. And each week, your child will have an advisement meeting, a one-on-one meeting with their mentor teacher. And at this time, it's a chance for our teachers to check in and make sure that your student is staying on top of things academically, to check in and make sure that your student is doing well socially and emotionally. So it's a great opportunity for students to bond with their mentor teacher and for mentor teachers to really get to know our students. And our hope is, as students continue on in our virtual academy, that they will keep the same mentor teacher year after year so that they have that established relationship. In addition to the weekly meetings for all students, middle school students, our 7th and 8th graders, will also have a daily check-in with their teachers. And this is because as middle school students, they're still learning those kind of foundational independent study skills. And so we figured that having a daily check-in is probably a good idea for them. And I'm a former middle school teacher, and I think middle school is where students start to really learn those independent study skills. And so for that reason, we're going to offer that daily check-in with teachers. Our teachers also will be able to offer reteaching opportunities. So if students have a hard time with a lesson or they didn't understand a concept, the teachers will be able to do some lesson intervention or some reteaching. Also, there may be some enrichment opportunities for students, and this can take place over Zoom or occasionally in person. For instance, for our science class, we'll have some in-person labs and some other in-person projects that in social studies and in some of the other content areas. And that depends on on the family preference, but we wanna make sure that we offer in-person opportunities because we think that the socialization aspect is important as well. In terms of our staffing, the student to staff ratio, meaning how many students are assigned to each teacher, is comparable to the comprehensive high schools and the middle schools. And so students will have access, I think, as we mentioned, to highly qualified teachers in all of their subject areas. And then also important to mention, another support that we'll have in place is that each staff member will have a daily office hour for students to drop in for help when needed. So kind of going back to that idea of that effective communication, if students are struggling in a class or they're falling behind or they didn't understand a particular lesson or an assignment, they can go to the teacher's daily office hour and just drop in and ask for some help. And the teacher at that time may choose to reteach something. They may choose to put some of the students in a breakout room and work together with a small group. So there's different options in terms of how the teacher will handle that. But it's important to mention that there will be a daily office hour option for any student that needs additional help. And I think, as I mentioned, that our teachers are here to deliver not only excellent academic support, but they're also here to help nurture our students' social and emotional health. Especially during this difficult last year, we've noticed that that's such an important part of our students' well-being. The courses that we're going to be offering comply with our A through G requirements, as well as our NC2A athletic requirements. Students will have access to honors, and then as we expand our program, right now we're offering grades 7 through 10, but our hope is the following year we'll be able to add in 11th and 12th grade, and at that time we will be able to offer some AP courses, and then also some lab science courses will be available for students. The course list that we're going to be offering helps reflect the courses that students will be taking at the comprehensive school site. So the APEX courses that we are offering at the Virtual Academy are the same courses that students have taken in the past at the comprehensive high schools. And just again to highlight the student supports that we have, students again will have access to our student lounge on campus. They will be able to collaborate with their peers if they choose, have access to their technology that they bring from home, or simply have a space to work if they need to get out of the house. I know I have a student, my own child is going into high school, and even though he enjoyed working from home last year, I know it would have been nice for him to have a change of scenery sometimes, go to the school site, maybe meet with a teacher, go work in a different location just to change it up. I think that would have been nice. Students will also have access, as you met Mr. Calderon, to the academic school counselor, and we also will have access to a psychologist and a mental health counselor if that's an area of need for your child. And as mentioned before, all of the teachers are Downey Unified District employees, and they're credentialed in their subject area. One thing that also sets apart the Virtual Academy from the regular school site is that even though we have it's a virtual learning environment, we still want to have a relationship with our comprehensive sites. We want to make sure that students can pursue their interests both inside and outside of the classroom. So if you have a child who is still interested in sports but really wants to stay virtual and pursue a virtual learning environment for a longer extended period of time, they can still participate in the CIF sanctioned sports at their home school site. We also encourage students to access clubs and extracurricular activities at their home school site. And it's important to mention that if we don't have the course offering that your student needs, the student can take up to 2 courses at their home site. So for instance, if you have a child who's really interested in drama or in choir, or maybe wants to pursue one of our many CTE pathways at the high school level, or wants to take their language requirement, we really encourage them to do so at their home school site so that they have all of the options available to them. And again, mentioning participating in sports and extracurricular activities at either of the comprehensive high schools. All right, so before we get into the how to apply, I think we'll take a quick break and just see if there's any important questions, or if you're seeing a theme in some of the questions that we want to answer before we get into the application piece.
One of the questions are the advisement meetings in person or online?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
So if the question is, are the advisory meetings with their mentor teacher, if those are online or if they're in person? So there's a little bit of questions regarding that.
Yeah, so it's really up to the family preference. So ultimately, we would love to have students on campus if they feel comfortable doing so, but the advisory meetings can be done online as well. So again, the idea is to offer as much flexibility as possible and whatever the families feel comfortable with.
Okay, thank you, Carlin. And then the other question was if students have to attend the PACE Center, or is it optional? So you kind of already answered that, right?
Yeah, it's optional.
Stay virtual, right? They do not have to come to PACE in person unless they want to, right? But they could definitely stay virtual if they desire. And then what about juniors and seniors?
So right now our program is for 7th grade through 10th grade, but our hope is to add 11th and 12th for next year, for the next school year. So for the 21-22 school year, we will be servicing grades 7 through 10.
Any other question that you see, Carrie, on there that I didn't go over?
Okay, we can also, we'll have some Q&A time at the end of the session, but I just wanted to make sure if there was anything pressing, because I know I've been talking a long time. All right, so for the next slide, I think I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Calderon and have him walk you through the how to apply process.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's there.
Let me see. Carlin, are you able to maybe got it, Carrie? Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, so if you're wondering how to apply, so what you would do is you would go to, HTTPS, right? Apply.edu.net. And then what you would basically do is you would go to the top right of the page and you would click on register for an account. So if you've never applied to either the GLAD program, which is our dual immersion program, or the virtual academy, then you will need to register for an account. Okay, it's a very quick, really quick process of just creating a profile before you're actually able to apply to the school. So you go to the top right, you click on register, you create your account, and then you actually click on start application. Here you have a few screenshots of what you would see, right? Like I mentioned, top right, register, you create that account, you click on register, right? And then after that, Carlin, if you would switch to the next slide. Yeah, so here you would see the actual application. So at the start, it would ask for your students' information. So their name, date of birth, their gender, right? Their address, phone number, email. And if your student has an IEP, right, you would list it there, whoever they live with, right? Whether it be father, mother, legal guardian, foster parent, anything of that sort. After that, it will ask for parent information. So if it's a one parent home, you would just put the first parent. If it's a two parent home, you would put two parents, right? You would fill that out. And then you'll click on next. And then sometimes when you're actually completing the application, you will see a review page, right? But you will sometimes see that programs applied for is actually empty. So if that happens, don't worry. What you would do is click on edit on the left side where it says programs, click on edit, and then you'll click the drop down menu, right? First choice, Downey Virtual Academy, and then hit next. And then you will be able to submit your application. You will see application complete. Thank you for your interest in having applied. And then we will be emailing you further steps. So if we go to the next slide here. Yeah, so after you apply to the virtual academy, right, we will be contacting you with regarding your acceptance to the school with upcoming steps. If your students are already registered, right, at another Downey Unified school, then our staff will be working to transfer your students' enrollment information to the virtual academy, okay? So if your student already goes to one of our middle schools, one of our high schools, then our staff will be working to transfer your student information, enrollment information to our academy. If you're perhaps a family who is not attending Downey Unified just yet, but you are, highly interested in doing so, then you will need to apply for a permit in order to enroll in our school.
And again, our staff can help with that enrollment process when we get to that point. And so we wanted to offer that support up to you. So we understand that this is a big decision to make, and we want to make sure it's the right fit for you, for your child. So after tonight's meeting, take some time and think about what you heard tonight, talk to your child, see if this is a right fit. If you have questions and we weren't able to answer them tonight, or you didn't think of them until after, that happens to me all the time. We wanted to provide 2 more opportunities that we will just be informal kind of Q&A opportunities. And so if you check the Virtual Academy website, we'll have the links for that. but the first one will be offered on Tuesday, August 3rd from 6 to 7. And we'll just have an open Zoom meeting where you can come anytime during that time and pop in and ask your question. And then again, we'll have that Thursday, August 5th from 10 to 11. So we just wanted to make sure that we offer you plenty of opportunities to ask the questions that you have so that we can better educate you on your choice. So we're going to just take some time to answer some questions. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording at this time. And so let me do that. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Sorry.